Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, Sambo, Wrestling. Grappling-based martial arts go all the way back in human history. I'm a filmmaker who trains and competes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, grappling, and Judo. One day, I was listening to a podcast and it hit me. Movie stunts and fight choreography are where the craft of filmmaking harmonizes with the beauty and the chaos of martial arts. And the people behind martial arts-driven movies, whether they be actors, directors, stunt performers, or choreographers, are often as badass and compelling as the fictional characters that they're bringing to life. I wanted to get to know these people better. I wanted to immerse myself in their world. And in particular, I wanted to focus on the jiu-jitsu and grappling side of that world. For starters, I reached out to an old friend of mine, Mustafa El Morsi, an actor, jiu-jitsu and judo practitioner, and stuntman who has worked with some of the biggest names in the film industry. I knew Mustafa because he had starred in one of my short films, The Syrian.
Yeah, I worry about my mother. I think she has no hope whatsoever.
He invited me to a gathering of actors and stunt performers at a ranch in Apple Valley, California, the Double Six or D6 Ranch, which specializes in training actors and stunt performers for horseback riding. The D6 Ranch is owned and operated by a master horseman named Ty Nitty.
He's fired, baby. He's fired. Huh? Hey, golly.
For a minute
I
longer.
was dancing with a horse. Nobody told me this.
I walked right up. You have minutes. Oh, a camera. I like cameras. I got a Jaguar now.
Oh, shoot. There's my dog right here.
Absolutely.
This is my dog.
Standing here with Central Casting.
There you go.
You want to?
The story of picking him up on the highway again?
Well, I was on the highway selling my oranges.
Yeah.
You know, I needed another $2 so I could eat that night. He picked me up, hosed me down, washed me off, put a cowboy hat on me. Next thing you know, here we are.
Here we are. Now he's working in Hollywood.
Making movies.
Riding
fancy horses.
And it all came about with a couple of oranges.
With a couple of oranges, because he picked me up off the highway.
There it is. Highway 18. Right there.
Highway 18.
That means the prophet that brought Islam to the followers. That means anybody can give you something to elect and go the other way after everything's said and done. Nivasa, that means be true to yourself. Nothing changes in life. Right? Don't worry about who's got the big contracts. It's that. As long as you can be true to yourself, that's what matters. Nothing matters. Never change. The long story of the short is, never sell yourself short of who you are. Right? Never give up on what you believe in life. Huh?
Oh, man. All the same.
After glimpsing the vaquero outlaw lifestyle of the actors and stunt performers at the D6 Ranch, I decided to chat with another good friend of mine who also lives like an outlaw, Malachi Silva. Malachi is one of my mentors at Renzo Gracie Los Angeles, where I've trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for almost a decade. He's an accomplished competitor, coach, and a talented actor, having worked in plays, films, and commercials. Besides being an actor, he's a true modern-day samurai. Specifically, he lives in a van parked outside of our dojo, and he devotes nearly all of his time to jiu-jitsu, yoga, and creativity.
Hi, I'm Steph. And we live in a van, which is, I guess, an interesting living situation. I started jiu-jitsu about 4.5 years ago and just decided I needed to get back into some kind of fitness, and because I've always played sport. Yeah.
My name is Malachi. At graduate school at USC at that time, and I guess still now, though things have kind of changed, but we won't get into that. That school was about action. It was about two things: knowing yourself and action. And the knowing yourself part was pretty deep and painful for most people, and enlightening as well. And the action part was about get in there and say the fucking lines and do your job.
So this is your brown belt. I remember the day you got it almost 2 years ago, and now it's pretty faded and you're almost back to white, or at least gray. So what does it mean to be for people who aren't familiar with the ranks and jiu-jitsu, I guess, how would you describe a brown belt?
It makes me emotional. Just like I say a few things about that. You know, I was talking to the kids the other day, the kids students at the gym, Henzo Gracie East Los Angeles. That's the gym I run, and you know, it means a lot to me to have a belt that looks, like you said, like a white belt, and that's beat up. You know, I think that is a measure of work, and you know, my life philosophy is work hard. It's not like anything. You know, I don't have an elegant way of saying that. All I've ever really known is to show up and do your best at whatever you know, your job is or your passion is, and things like that. So I like to beat my stuff up, you know, and so that belt's a good representation of that, as was my purple belt. This is such a fucking hard thing to do, man. Like, and it sucks for like 2 years, majorly. It sucks. When you start jiu-jitsu. So, you know, anybody that's watching this that's thinking about starting or has started and thinking about quitting, don't quit, man. Just keep going. It's the change is around the corner. It doesn't get any easier.
After my conversation with Malachi, I reconnected with Mustafa as well as his colleague Elsa Ames to get their perspective on acting, stunts, and martial arts. The WGA strike had just shut down all of production in Hollywood, so they weren't too busy to meet with me.
I would say stunts is like a lifestyle. Like, your training is going to be part of your life. The people you train with are part of your professional network as well as your social network, and you learn from everybody. Like, that's kind of the nicest thing I've found about stunts is like acting may be a little more competitive. You may have just like a different vibe, whereas stunts is so incredibly collaborative. People are always looking to shoot, always looking to film. Like, they want you to succeed.
Yeah.
It's a collaboration. It's a dance. It's like, I didn't realize how much like actual acting is involved, even in moments where you think it's just punching and kicking, but like taking the reaction a lot of the time is what really sells the power of the other person. So the more you can whip your head around, the more you can twist and contort to make it look violent and gritty, the more that really, really sells on camera.
Yeah, especially with fight scenes. I mean, we require rehearsals, of course, before you get into a fight scene, and 10%, 20%, 30%, we go slow.
Yeah.
And then we just, when we're ready to shoot, we just go. Yeah.
And everything in stunts is bigger than real fighting. Like, in Muay Thai, you would never want to like telegraph a punch or a kick is coming from a certain place, but in stunts, that's part of letting your partner know, either with visual cues or like auditory cues, that you're going to be punching there. And again, it's agreed upon choreography, but to make the timing land, those things are all really, really big for camera. Whereas like you may not see it at all in like a real MMA fight, or like you have to watch the replay.
And to be honest, like, you will be bruised up after a fight scene or after a big stunt. Like, don't expect that you're gonna walk out like, oh, fun, this stunt. Like, sure, yeah, it was fun, but then you'll be tired the next day. You would be bruised up, even though you're wearing all these pads and back pad and short pads. But it's still a
I feel like memories to come home with, as I like to say.
yeah. Yeah.
Did you get bruised after our last fight?
I did. I think so.
Little
I
bit?
think I was bruised up. I'm not sure where I was bruised
And was it
up.
your back? Because you took a lot of back.
No, I think it was something. I don't know. I don't know where. I think I was bruised up. Maybe I think maybe my back too, and something in my arm. I was bruised up. But that stunt gig I did with Daniel, we were all bruised up after that. We took like big falls. Yeah. But it's fun though. I mean, if you have the adrenaline of a stunt animal, then you're in the right game. Man. You stunt, train, jiu-jitsu classes, judo classes, training, right? I'm like, I love the training. Something will come one day. I'm still gonna keep training. That's how I don't give up. I have this self-doubt so many times. I had this self-doubt. But I think support system and classes and family and just I believe is very strong. Is what keeps you going.
I really can't quit.
You can't
I'm
quit.
like, fuck, I have people that are looking up to me. You know, I'm like, I can't fucking quit.
And then you feel that pressure.
It does. Yeah. I feel like I have this pressure on me. Like I have to make it now to like to inspire these other people that like look up to me. You know, and
It gives you, It forces you to do things they never thought you would do.
Even back home in Egypt, I have like kids who are like I wouldn't call fans, but like there's some like kids of like friends of mine.
They're fans.
I say fans.
Just say it. He's an A-list celebrity. Yeah.
You know, I was just like, just like what you said, there's too much pressure on. Fuck, I can't quit. I just have to keep going.
Yeah, and that's what it is. My family's watching. Like, how are you doing that? I'm like,
This is a career, like both action and stunts, to some acting and stunts. It's a career that picks you back a little bit, and there is a lot of rejection to it. But if you can learn to like thrive on the rejection, as every no is just like a not yet type of thing. Like, oh, okay, how can I angle my skill set, or how can I position myself to do this better next time? That's how you like progress in your career, and all you can do is focus on your craft and getting better at what you do.
Not long after my chat with Mustafa and Elsa, I packed my bags for New York City. I landed there at the tail end of the summer because I wanted to connect with a man named Stephen Kepfer, who happened to be the coach of one of my former grappling coaches. Stephen is a New York native and stunt performer who owns a gritty small gym in Midtown Manhattan, where he teaches the obscure yet brutally effective Russian martial art known as Sambo.
Hey, my name's Stephen Kepfer. I'm a Sambo coach here in New York City. This is my gym, New York Combat Sambo. I'm also a stunt performer, and we operate, myself and my partner, Paul Veracci, Breakfall Studios out of here, which is a training program for stunt performers as well. And this is our facility. We've been here in Midtown Manhattan, just off of Times Square, for 20 years, just a little over 20 years. And this is it. This is our humble abode. This is where the magic happens, as they say, you know?
Some people are just
Pin that foot to the floor. Boom.
like
Post. Sit out. And just watch out for that.
If someone isn't like so.
Okay? If you kick me, I'll kick you.
If someone has a high tolerance.
All right, rotate.
They're just gonna kind of stay there. So, I guess what I'm saying is like work the lapels, work the sleeves, whatever. Just do your thing. Like worry less about what they're doing and worry about what you want to do. You know?
Thank you very much.
Nice. One arm in, never. One arm in, one out. Either both in or both out.
So once SAG-AFTRA joined the Writers Guild in their strike, we knew we were going to have a lot of guys earning less money, and there's a lot of opportunity, obviously, with time to add training to our schedule, but also not a lot of income coming in to pay for that training. So we started a free weekly class for SAG-AFTRA performers to come here and get some training for free.
So Matt, there's a little bit of a trick with the jump. Yeah. Let your body lean forward as much as possible. Lean, and then get your heels back in front of you.
Okay. When you come out of the roll, let the movement take you into the next one. You gotta come out, look, come back. Start here. Try not to extend your legs, come out of the roll. So keep this position, don't change it. You're already here, I know you can make this position. Yeah. Put your knees on the inside. Watch. Just come right back to that position. But see that movement wants me to go forward? Yeah. That's when you jump. Okay. Like what Jared was saying. Nah. Huh? Use that movement from the rolls to bring you back up to your feet.
Wait, I was trying to reset to do it again.
I know, but you fucked up, so you're gonna start from the beginning.
My name is Matt Strelecki. I'm a SAG-AFTRA stunt performer. I've been in the business about 1.5 years, so I'm here at the Sambo class to keep tuning my skills and keep learning.
I'm Tuan Trong. I'm a SAG-AFTRA stunt performer, and I fill in wherever I'm needed.
I'm Jared Blake DeCrost. I'm a SAG-AFTRA performer for a little over 10 years now in stunts. I focus on fights. I love to ride the wire and rig up sets so that we can make our stuff happen.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Paul Veracci. I'm a SAG-AFTRA stunt performer. I've been in SAG for 7 or 8 years now. I run Breakfall Studios with Steve. I was also COVID health and safety for Disney for a while.
When's the last time Alec has come through?
It's been a while, especially since he started that bartending job.
Yeah. I think of him every time I do this because he's the one that got me to lean.
Yeah.
Handstand rather than my arm.
No, he helped me
So
handstand a lot. Yeah. Especially handstand cartwheels, he helped me with. Okay. Hands here. Do your roll. Hands still here.
So when you say it's not real judo or sambo,
No, it's a roll, but what you're doing is putting your hands down.
Oh, okay.
Don't do that anymore.
Which actually makes it harder. You're stopping your momentum to get you back up.
Okay. So, try holding your jacket. Okay. As if you were in fighting stance. Yeah. Hands higher. Like right here. Yeah. Roll. Come up. Throw your 1-2. Come back. Roll. Boom. He has to cover up in case I'm here to hit him. Then he can throw it back. Bang, bang. Right? Switch. He covers up. There's nothing to do with stunt stuff. It's just good fight
Got it.
principles covering your head.
So just to be, so you do stunt training here, but this class is pure
This is a
combat
class.
Sambo. Yeah.
But look, being a better fighter, and you can ask these guys, being a better fighter as a fighter will help you be a better screen fighter.
Right.
I mean, look, getting out of move, covering your head is great when you're stunt doubling somebody and you don't want them to see your face. Right. But it's easier, and I'll let you guys comment for the camera too, but I think it's easier, in my opinion, to retrain somebody with good fight skill to fight for the screen than to train somebody with no fight skill to fight for the screen. Now, certainly there are people who can just train, they've never trained fighting before and then train for the screen, but I think it's easier to unlearn some stuff than to learn a whole lot of stuff. What do you guys think?
I absolutely agree. Set's so fluid. Things are always changing. They're moving where the camera is. They're changing the angle of your fight. If you're fighting with an actor, they don't really know how to hit you properly. It's your job to know footwork. To put you in the spot so that it feeds the camera and so you're still being safe. And if you can adjust on top of them, you're the hero of the day. So that's all martial arts: footwork, movements, awareness of your opponent, which could be camera or the other fighter. So yeah, knowing this stuff is kind of everything when it comes to fights.
Absolutely. This,
which is even better. Yeah.
Being a good fighter is already building the muscle skill for you to stop a punch, to extend up. You know, you're learning your body. So if all of a sudden you're across from an actor and you can't hit them, and you don't have that control built in, you don't want to be that person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or even getting tagged by an actor and knowing how to take some of the energy out by moving your body. If you're a brick wall, you're breaking your jaw.
Also making the adjustments to your acting as well, because you can't always act like a fighter. Sometimes you have to act like someone who doesn't know how to fight, but you still have to get your breath out properly. So, you know, my first time, I remember I was getting lots and lots of adjustment advice, we'll just call it that, because somebody would swing at me and I was going in like this, and they're like, dude, he looks like he's fighting a spec ops guy. They're like, they need that guy. They need the guy who's scared of fighting Daredevil, not the guy who wants to go toe to toe with him.
The script is going to dictate that. The character you're playing. Are you in a bar brawl, or are you fighting on the battlefield when you lost your gun?
Yeah.
Like, all of these are different stories, and we're here to tell stories.
And that's the performer. That's the performer part of stunt performer, right? We have to be able to act. So this is the puke wall. So anytime somebody pukes while training, they sign the wall, their name and date. We usually get an uptick during the heavy, hot, humid New York summers, but yeah, that's what this wall is. Since Sambo doesn't have ranking, official ranking, like BJJ or Judo, you got to give some reason to motivate students, but this is the first submission wall, so anytime a student gets a live submission, their first time they get a live submission sparring, they can sign this with what submission they got. And some of these are also like the first time somebody competes, the first time they win with a submission in competition, they'll put it on the wall too. It's a nice motivator for the rookie students.
All guys work together.
Hell yeah.
Again, this isn't like a quote-unquote stunt class, but this is essentially learning choreography, right? Fighter A has one part, fighter B has another part. You've got to do it in tandem with each other. And as we keep adding moves to our mitt sequence, it's like learning choreography. It's a really great drill for stunt performers to learn sequences of moves.
Hell yeah. And if you don't have endurance, you won't keep up with how many takes they want to do. If you've got 5 angles in a 2-camera setup, then yeah, you could expect to do each one about 3 times. So 15 to 30. For a 20 to 40 beat choreo, it's a lot. And they should break it up, and they should tell you we only want to do 5 pieces, but the director wants the whole thing from every angle, so the editor has a choice.
Dude, the Ray Donovan underground fights we shot in Red Hook in the warehouse, it was probably about 10 hours straight of fighting, and it was 100+ degree weather. They tried to bring in portable air conditioners. PAs were handing out water constantly. It was brutal. It was brutal.
And mentally, in that state of mind, it's very easy to slip and forget what you're doing.
Yeah.
Unless you work it like this.
Yep. This is where you earn your stripes, as it were. So next round.
Hey. Some coordinator, 20 feet in the air, talking to a guy, looking down at a Stilipatrapedic foam and a bed mattress.
Yeah.
From 20 fucking feet, and I look at the guy and I go.
Picked it up today.
And I look at the guy and I go like this. I go. And he goes, yeah. And I go, okay. You do it first and show me how you want it done.
Right.
And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, I'm not fucking doing it either.
Right. Prove to me I'm gonna hit that mark. No, you're good. Yeah, fine.
You good? All right, making sure you're not passed out. All right. He's alive.
Behind the scenes footage. I say something for behind the scenes.
I don't know, it's just very interesting watching all of this go down.
I didn't have to show you how to do the inside trip, right? No. So you're getting it. It's always easy to look at the 90% of stuff I fucked up on and not the 10% of stuff I did well.
Right.
Especially when you're new.
Mm-hmm. How many times do you think you've been concussed in your career?
It's really hard to know because I've never actually had it diagnosed. But
yeah,
like what we were saying, you know, you wake up the next day and you're dizzy. You go from one room to the next and you don't feel right. You highly suspect it, but what are you gonna do?
Listen.
You know, I'm not going to the hospital.
By definition, if you lose consciousness, you're concussed.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. So if you get knocked out, you're concussed. The level of it, that's different.
So
if you
would
got
you
your
consider
belt,
getting choked out?
no,
Yeah.
no,
All right.
because concussion.
I've never
the
been
definition,
knocked out outside of alcohol.
No. Choking that's different. That's
Yeah,
not
that's
a
why I'm
concussion.
asking.
A
Right.
concussion is where the brain is hitting the inside of your skull.
Yeah.
Chokes don't do that.
Right.
So it's not about brain impact.
So
Concussion's
now,
about
I
brain.
can't be sure, but there's been plenty of times I've been hit hard.
I'm 55 years old. And I'm just chilling. When I'm on top, look, it's Mother Nature doing it. Hey, Steve. Here, my spent buddy. When you're on the bottom, escape. Don't punch. Because you're getting punched. Right?
Feel a little squeeze, a little bridge, a little arch. Boom. There you go.
Now, think about it. Relax. Take a deep breath. Don't stress out. Ain't nothing gonna happen. Breathe normal. Relax.
I'm tense from how I used to train. I'm really trying to observe you guys get down. It's tough. You know.
Oh, you're not happy.
You're 100% right. I know you are. You go dive a little bit every time I come hang out.
Me too.
Well, it dives faster when
Every
you
time
don't.
I feel like I got another round in me, then I'm like, oh, maybe I don't.
Let's go round.
Yeah.
We're gonna fight. We're gonna let depends on it. We're gonna find one, I guess.
All right. Comments, thoughts.
I'm fucking tired. But, yeah, good work.
That was a lot of fun. 2 on.
The importance of trying new things, even though you know there's 99% chance of going to fail, because that's how you figure out. You just you're just picking the right ways to fail and just actually trying stuff. It's so easy to stay comfortable and just lay down, but you gotta try stuff.
Yeah.
You win by failing.
It's a cliche, but
You definitely have to fail forward, as they say.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so important to persevere, push through. And we make all these jokes about long days on set, but it's fucking 100% true.
Oh, yeah.
Especially working New York locations in the summer, and you're doing stunts, and you're fucking pads all over your body, underneath your wardrobe, and all that. It's hot as balls. Hot as balls. And then Jared made the joke before. It's always after lunch. They're like, okay, stunt scene's next. And you're like, and then you go to lunch, right? You're eating light, and people are like, why are you not eating so much? I'm like, I know they're going to do the stunts after lunch.
And today was another humbling day where I'm learning you can't just muscle your way through shit. Finesse and pacing is something that's going to take a while to master. Paul was helping me with that one, but you just can't bulldoze it. It doesn't work. You got to be in position, push your partner so they push you back, and take that energy and do something with it. But you're not going to muscle into a win.
Does that apply to some extent in stunt work as well?
I mean, absolutely. Yeah, you can't just barge in the room being the big swinging dick and think they're gonna respect you. This whole established matrices of people and relationships, and they've got a good reason to use who they're using because reputations and jobs and families are on the line. So you can't just push your way in, you gotta earn it.
When I was a kid,
I was in Kempo Karate, and it was a great way for my father and I to bond for years. My family had a split. I got taken out of a lot of the stuff I did with him, you know, not a sob story, but I got into wrestling after that for 9 years. Kept up with martial arts, one form or another. Did boxing, did a little more Kempo, TKD, Taekwondo, a little BJJ, and found my way to Manhattan to try to make a career as an actor. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I found my way onto The Sopranos and on the HBO's kind of watch list. They were putting me out for a lot of things right before the writer's strike, when I first got here around '07. That changed my whole career, but it really gave me a chance to get back into martial arts. And I started my training up for Sanity again. I got into JKD, Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee style. And that one really filled a lot of the gaps of my fighting because I got very comfortable with the ground game. Kind of came back to my roots of Kempo with a standing game, but the way Bruce does it, almost like at a distance, like a fencer, I now know far gaps, medium-sized gaps, and if I'm close, I go to wrestling. And now Sambo is taking wrestling, which is a sport. I don't want to just get somebody on their back. I want to take them out and putting it into real-world applications. So, you know, kind of a lifelong journey. And I'm trying to fill all the gaps of my knowledge in movement. There's the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, I believe, who is this very famous samurai. And he alludes to this concept that when you know the way, it informs all things. And it's something I really believe. The discipline of training your vocal cords is a muscle, and you have to keep up with it. And you're going to atrophy if you don't keep up with it. It's that same discipline in anything you do, in martial arts, in fitness, in cardio. It's not a journey with an end. It's just something that you add to the bag and you keep up with. And if you want to be any good, you just keep working at it. Every day you're a new person with new challenges. You've got to find a way to stretch that wrapping around what you've got to do. For acting, my favorite thing in the world, I used to get put out for leading man stuff and I hated it. I want to be the comedic actor. I want to be the best friend that's a little bit nuts, you know, and go a little off the rails and whatever it is to just have fun. As long as I'm in the moment, whether it's fighting, training, or acting, I know I'm on the path that is true, in a sense, without being too philosophical.
I love performing. And that's the bottom line. Again, I mentioned I was originally trying to be an actor. I worked in musicals, and I moved into stunts because this is the most fruitful outlet for me. If I'm on set and I'm doing things, I'm happy. For me, the joy out of the whole process comes in the problem solving. For people trying to get into the industry, it's a process. Everything you could possibly do is very low percentage, and what I can say is that I can't guarantee any success out of anything, especially as someone who's barely in the industry myself. But what I know for certain is that all you can do is stick it out. As long as you stick it out, that's the only thing you can do to increase your chances of making something happen. It's easier just to do something else, but if you want to be here, you want to be here.
Starting a career in the stunt business as an older guy in his 40s is not easy. It's hard enough to get into stunt business. It's even harder to get into it if you're not a young guy just starting out. There are advantages and disadvantages to that. Obviously, there's a lot of disadvantages. But some of the advantages are, I mean, the disadvantages, there are some disadvantages that apply to everybody trying to get into this business. One, you know, we don't use agents, we don't have managers, it's all word of mouth. It's a very, very slow burn. You usually get in with a skill that you have, like in my case, fighting. And then, like take Sambo, for example, right? Working on John Wick, because Sambo was a central theme in the fighting styles in that movie. But how many Sambo movies are gonna come along? So then it's like, okay, well, you got in the union, you got that job, but what do I do next? Oh yeah, so now I gotta learn how to drive, gotta learn how to rig, I gotta learn how to, you know, do fire, I gotta learn how to, you know, you start to have to build your skill set, because you won't always get a job based on whatever got you in the room. You know, if you got in, like take, you know, I know a guy who got in because he's a pro skateboarder. That was his first job, but you know how many pro skateboard jobs are there gonna be? So then you have to start learning how to fight. You have to start learning how to do this. You have to learn how to act. You have to learn how to shoot, edit, all these things you have to learn to make yourself valuable to the industry. You know, one-trick ponies don't make it very long.
Before I flew back to the West Coast, Steven connected me with Hugh Fitzgerald, a jiu-jitsu black belt who had served as the in-house grappling expert at 8711 Action Design, the company behind the John Wick series. 8711 was founded by legendary stuntmen turned directors Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, who went from working as stunt doubles for Keanu Reeves and Brad Pitt to directing those stars in big-budget action flicks. Following the success of the first Wick film, Chad Stahelski went on to direct the sequels, while David Leitch branched out, directing such films as Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs & Shaw, and Bullet Train. Most recently, he directed The Fall Guy starring Ryan Gosling. David eventually started his own production and action design company, 87 North, and in doing so, he recruited Hugh Fitzgerald to build a grappling-based stunt team from the ground up. Little did I know at the time, I would wind up becoming one of Hugh's trainees myself.
Hi, I'm Hugh Fitzgerald, and this is the house of the church they call 87 North. And it is owned and run by many people, but first and foremost, David Leitch and his wife, Kelly McCormick. You need to be able to test pressure and what it's like to have somebody that you just gotta work to get out from underneath from. And that speaks to the self-defense portion of what we're talking about, okay? But it still applies to choreo also, because then that's where it looks back to as real as possible in a controlled, safe environment, right? Okay, so we're back here. Someone had a question about the getting to that step where everyone, it seems to be part of the lack of a better term, the hiccup, the transition. So we're gonna smooth that out as much as possible, and you can do it, but you want to stay in control the entire time. So you want to be loose and fasten, okay? It's that strange paradox of don't hold on, but don't hold on too tight. Know when to hold on tight, know when not to, okay? And that's just time on the mat. Started wrestling in junior high school, really fell in love with it, and I started to do some research on the families and lineage, specifically the Gracies. All the while I was in a theater directing school in Manhattan and training while going to school, and started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and fell in love with it, like many do. Came out west to work on a TV show in California with a director friend of mine, David Mamet, who I became an assistant to, amongst others, and other friends in his circle, which was amazing, learned a lot. But David has a background in boxing. David Mamet really got into jiu-jitsu, so we had that common connection, amongst other things. And then I sought out some schools here on the West Coast and continued with my training pretty much full time, working odd jobs here and there, but as they would say, they would call the mat rats. And it was tough, and I came up from schools that were really tough, and I was introduced to the Machado brothers. Carlos, Jean-Jacques, Hajer, John, Hegan, and started training with, on and off with Jean-Jacques, got to know John Machado very well, and then his brother Hegan, who actually gave me my black belt. And come to find out, since here at Paulson, Machado black belt, close friend of mine, Patrick Trey, Machado black belt, Hegan and some of his brothers also worked in and out of 8711 back in the day during the first and second John Wick. And so once again, everything was, you know, kind of a tight-knit family under one roof.
I'm Riga Machado. You guys here in my academy in Beverly Hills, Jiu-Jitsu school. He was my student for a long time. He's a sweetheart person. I'm happy for him. I hope he start doing some films soon because I believe he have some talent for films. As a writer, I believe as a performer, I think he can be in future a good director.
My style of training is a hybrid. I always find myself kind of going back to the foundation and my roots, which are wrestling, and obviously the grappling jiu-jitsu, and then friends and people that I've known that are in the Malaysian and Filipino fighting systems, which I've put a lot more time and energy into, which I love. Self-defense applications, and always a student and always learning, as they say. And God willing, I'll be at it for a lot longer. They'll sweep me off the mat, as I say. I found common denominators with the way that I approach directing and script writing and storyline to the way that I teach. I think it's helped inform the way that I teach, and especially in this industry, so that people could relate to something more than just compartmentalizing. You're doing this, we'll compartmentalize this and this, but they're all interconnected and cross-pollinate on some level. Then we got it to film and TV where everything's like the protracted, beautiful, right? But he said they would come in and would be out, next guy, out, next guy, out, 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 out. Or weaponize a box crate, smash them over the head with it, and be done with it. So they're quick kills. But we learned how to design them to be longer and beautiful and a little more graceful, and that's all great. But nothing's gonna be that, where you go, oh, that looks real. Make sense? Good. So when we talk about what we do in a training facility on the mat, it can absolutely apply to the outside world. Whether you're snowboarding, surfing, any style of martial arts, whether you're writing, whether you're acting, there are certain fundamentals that are tried and true, and at the same time there are areas of expansion and the unknown that I always found fascinating. And that keeps it fun and keeps it interesting. And if you can apply what you're learning here to your creative work outside of here and vice versa, I think that my students are starting to, I hope, see the world from a different perspective and a different worldview and the way they walk through it as an artist. And at the end of the day, this is all high art and artistry. It's creative chaos, as they say. And that chaos, which hopefully turns into a symphony. And that symphony can be any kind of symphony. You have a foundation on every home, but the type of home you decide to build on that foundation is up to you and your own personality. And what I love more than anything is nurturing someone's instincts and personality, helping them, guide them in certain directions, but at the end of the day, it's up to them with what they bring to the table, who they are, their history, and nobody can take that away. And I'm just really, the further along I progress in this, there's no one way of doing any of this, I believe, and I believe that for myself. So I try to implement that in my teaching, that it's very improvisational, spontaneous, and in the moment.
My name is Kyle Felter. I started martial arts when I was 4 with kind of an older Okinawan-based style of karate out in Virginia. Did it for about 13 years, then got into high school wrestling, which carried me then to college wrestling, where I wrestled Division I. The way that he coaches and the way that he teaches, he doesn't kind of like shun what you're already bringing to the table. So like, since I have a strong wrestling background, and also like, I mean, I know judo goes along with jiu-jitsu, but like, and wrestling does to an extent, but since I have a strong wrestling background, he says, hey, lean into it and let's play with it and create your style of jiu-jitsu off of what you already have.
Once again, we're in a rehearsal mode. We got to get out to the next degree out of that rehearsal mode. It's too casual. You don't go walk over to a knife and just grab it and then start playing like it, right? This is like, get to that knife. He's going to be wanting to get to it. And this is the adjustment I would give. Does it make sense? Because we have to say, this is life and death scenario. This wasn't a life and death scenario. This was like play fighting with your cousin. And this isn't a criticism. This is just, it's for everyone's benefit. Start over, back to 1. And go. Chris, get to the knife. Get to the knife. Pause. So this is all where we start to really see he's doing the right thing, but the whole time he's slicing and stabbing and while he's trying to do he's hitting his hips. So that's why I say you got to get to this is priority number 1. It's when somebody's on your back and they're choking you out is what's priority number 1. Not being put to sleep.
I'm Nick, or Nico, and I've been doing martial arts since I was 4 years old. This studio in particular, in this class, really gives me an opportunity to explore my creative side. You know, typically classes are, they give you a drill, you do the things that they tell you to do, and then you go home and think about it, I guess. And here we have a little bit more of an opportunity to explore, but also start to thread things together and then pay attention to the details that really make it look interesting for film and television. In the classes, I'm able to take things that I already know, different pieces, and really put them together in a way that, you know, maybe someone's never seen before.
So it's a way of like getting, you know, judo obviously works well. There are certain systems that work better than others just because they open up for the camera. So how do you take something that's a very condensed form of fighting system on the ground and open it up for the camera? And I think that was part of the task, was to find ways of doing that. And I think it's worked. Judo, obviously, just because of the dynamic flourishes and throws. Kickboxing, Muay Thai, others have always been tried and true, but Jiu-Jitsu is one of those that was just difficult to film, which everyone's gotten better at, and we're starting to see more of it, which is great.
In the first Little Weapon was my cousin Horion Gracie. Horion Gracie, little by little, started teaching some celebrities. He have opportunity to train Mel in few fight scenes. He had some jiu-jitsu, some judo throws, and he finished on the triangle choke. It's kind of unique because it gives you a taste of something different. And I think it was a good opportunity to introduce some jiu-jitsu in Hollywood.
It turns out that Hugh and I had a mutual acquaintance, Kit Dale, a world-class Australian grappler who transitioned into acting and fight choreography following the end of his competition career. After moving to LA to pursue a career in film, Kit started training and teaching out of my jiu-jitsu gym, Renzo Gracie, Los Angeles.
You know, there's nothing worse when you hit to the inside and you start getting sprawled like that. It's a horrible position. You're stuck in. You're stuck here, and it's a bad position. You're just going to get used to playing with both of them. Good question. So I want to get to the point where, you know, where I'm like, boom, 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 and then I start coming up straight away.
first fight scene with Elias for a film or TV show, how close would it look to what I just saw?
Not at all like that.
So where does this competition jiu-jitsu diverge from choreo?
Well, first off, Elias's jiu-jitsu is ugly. It's not going to work on film. Elias is good. He's a very specific style, and it's real. Jiu-jitsu in film, we want to dance along that fine line of what's real, but what looks really good. And that's what I would try and do, is I would try and find, okay, what's real? Things that actually work, but things that have a flair and a style to them that is signature to the characters or the type of film. Ultimately, still a lot of people don't know about jiu-jitsu, and the ones we're marketing to may not have ever seen it, so we have to make it look nice, so they do like it enough, so they start training, and then see what real jiu-jitsu is.
After your comp career, did you always have the idea of being into movie work in choreo, or did that just come up later on?
No, that just came up. My goal was always to get into acting, but it was a very easy entrance into that world because of the skill set I have, plus the way I train and the way I teach is very problem-solving-esque. So a lot of choreo is problem-solving. You have a situation, a scenario, and we need to find something that fits in there, the perfect puzzle piece. And 9 times out of 10, that puzzle piece has to be improvised or adapted. And if you don't know how to adapt and improvise and problem solve your way through and connect these dots, then everything looks kind of broken up and choppy and pre-rehearsed and unorganic. So I was kind of lucky that the way I like to teach and like jiu-jitsu works really well for film. But it was never something that I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. It's more like, this is the gift that I can offer the world, and I'm going to use it until I discover another gift or develop another gift in which I can show the world.
Awesome. And can you talk a little bit about your acting?
So I've been acting since I was a little kid. We had a camera when we were little, and we loved doing fight scenes, wrestling, and comedy stuff. And it wasn't until 2015 when I had a knee reconstruction that I realized, like, hey, shit, my career in jiu-jitsu is going to be far more difficult now than what it was. Plus, I was getting older. I was like 31 at the time. I'm like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do other than jiu-jitsu? And I was like, I've always wanted to act. Like, why not try and get into it? So I got a meeting with an agent. I got an agent. I ended up getting a small speaking role on a show called Jack Irish with Guy Pearce. And then I was very lucky to get a lead role in a $32 million feature film, which was really good. And then from then, it was about fixing my knee, because my knee wasn't fixed yet. I had to use the money I made to fix my knee, then come to America, get a work visa. I finally got that, then COVID hit, and now COVID's finished. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And I've taken more of a creative role in what I want to do. Instead of acting for other people's projects, I want to develop my own. So I've been writing for 2 years, and my goal is to be filmmaking and basically be a filmmaker. Whether I want to act, direct, produce, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I just want to bring my own films and my own ideas to life. If you have a dream and you want to achieve it, work hard. I'm really getting hit right now. You gotta see this. This is what's going on right now. No, look, honestly, find what you enjoy in life and try and figure out a way to make a career out of it. That's my advice. I did that a few different times, and I really enjoy life. It has its ups and downs, but I enjoy it.
Awesome, thanks, bro.
Talking to Hugh and Kit made me want to go back even further in tracing the roots of 8711 and 87 North. Those roots truly began at the Inosanto Academy, which was founded by Guru Dan Inosanto, Bruce Lee's disciple and training partner. At the Inosanto Academy, Chad Stahelski and David Leach trained and sparred with a future legend and pioneer in the MMA world, Sensei Eric Paulson. While Eric Paulson is mainly known for inventing a style called combat submission wrestling and coaching UFC world champions such as Brock Lesnar and Josh Barnett, few people realize that Eric was once an actor, model, and stuntman who became a close friend and confidant of Chad Stahelski. At that time, Chad was also a young up-and-coming fighter and stuntman. In fact, Eric and Chad trained under Japanese coach Yuri Nakamura and then flew to Japan to fight in an MMA league called Shudo. They did so months before the first UFC event took place in 1993.
This line is where the wrist goes. This lock doesn't go on until you slide your chest and your elbow down and you look up in the direction of the lock. If my wrist is bent, he can reach over and grab his wrist, and then he'll crunch it, and then he might get a wrist lock. So the first thing I do when I punch this down is I slide and I try to go here. But then he straightens and bridge, and boom. So I bring it here, and then I switch. Okay, keep this, switch, come to here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, he sits up. 2 hands on the tricep. Or if we're here, that's it. We're gonna guide this down and under, whoop, and then grab the tricep. That's it. All right, 1, 2, 3, up. Relax.
My shoulder hurts after seeing him. You're flexible, bro.
Oh, man.
All you would have heard is pa-pa, pa-pa-pa, pa-pa-pa.
It's like most people are flexible. No, not that I know of.
Hi, my name's Eric Paulson. I'm originally from Minnesota. I grew up in Minnesota, and when I was 19 after high school, I decided to come to California to pursue my dreams. My dreams were to finish college, to train martial arts, to pursue my modeling and acting career, and then possibly just get into movies. And then what happened is while I was in the process of training and getting ready for fights, I was also pursuing an acting, modeling, acting, commercial, entertainment career, doing movie stuff. And as I got into the movie work, I was going to auditions for commercials. I was going to auditions for modeling for swimwear and underwear ads for different companies. And then I also was doing auditions for the commercials and bit parts for movies. And what happened is I got hit on so many times by guys that I said, well, what else in the entertainment industry can I do that would be similar? And they said, you should look into stunt work. And I go, stunts? And they go, yeah, stunts. And I go, so I probably won't get hit on as a stuntman. They go, probably, definitely not. And I worked with, as a bartender, a lot of the actors, a lot of the bartenders were actors. And it's a funny joke. You say, someone says, yeah, I'm an actor. And I go, oh, you are? What restaurant do you work at? Or what bar do you work at? And they go, no, a working actor. But most people, when they say they're an actor, you always ask them what bar they work at.
I know Eric for a long time. I met him through Royce. I remember me and Royce, we used to go to a club, a place in Manhattan Beach Pier. He used to be a bartender there. He always treated me nice. Little by little, we get to know him, inviting him to training. In the conversation, he have a very good background in martial arts under Daniel Nosanto. And we start training, become friends. He training for my cousin Hickson. Later, he come back, start training for me.
And I was in shape. I was, like I said, 165 pounds. And I was doing 200 pull-ups, 200 dips, a full-on gymnastic workout, karate and boxing every day during the week. And then we were lifting weights too. And it was just, I was training so much and doing so much at the time, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to really do. And I had the idea I wanted to do movie stuff. And in the movie stuff, I wanted to be a martial artist. Brandon Lee was training at the Inosanto Academy. I trained with Brandon. Burt Richardson was getting into the movie stuff. Jeff Amata was already big. He was in Big Trouble in Little China. He was in tons of movies. And then you had Chad Stahelski, Damon Caro. Those two were my mentors. Chad was my training partner. Him and I went to Japan together. Chad is now the owner of 8711. Him and Damon actually started 8711. Damon Caro, we were all brothers. There were 3 of us under Guru that trained together regularly, and it was Damon, Chad, and me. There were more, but, and we were all pursuing movie work. And I noticed when people would get auditions, you could see how some people, you know, they would keep it silent and they wouldn't share it with anybody else, and they were getting their own private auditions, and thinking that if you find out that you're gonna hustle the set and try to get a job or steal their job. And for me, I didn't like that attitude. I just was like, hey, you know, there's a common joke, how do you get 15 stunt guys on a movie set? You hire one. You hire one and they bring all their buddies. I was very diverse because I was a gymnast. I wasn't afraid to jump off anything. I was totally ballsy. I would sell out at the drop of a hat. If I got on a TV show called Spy Games with Jeff Amata, and Jeff goes, I was doubling Peter Lupus from Mission Impossible, and he goes, hey, climb up that tree. Could you get shot and fall out of off that first branch? It's, I don't know, 12 feet up. I go, sure, no problem. What kind of fall? Well, he goes, you're gonna get shot, so maybe you could do a flat back or a face-off. Boom, and twist. So I go, sure. So he goes, oh, that was good, that was good. And the gun was really heavy and it almost hit me in the head. So he goes, would you go higher? And I go, sure, where? He goes, would you go up to that branch and get shot? I go, sure. And he goes, really? I go, yeah. So I climbed up, and he goes, we'll give you a better adjustment if you do that. So I did. I fell out of that one, boom. And he goes, would you go up to the top over there and fall out of that? And I go, is it safe to get, looks like those branches aren't very strongly. He goes, well, how high would you go? And I go, how high do you want me to go? And I just wanted to work. And that's the attitude, is you have to sell out. You have to be willing to do what they ask you.
You expect to fall and get back up and get bruised up and keep going. And sometimes you would actually get hurt on the set, like oh, it hurts, but you gotta go again and again and again, and you just take it and you get back up and you do it again. Why are you being hurt? You know, that's just the professionalism of this career, you know, of this field.
Yeah, there's a grit to it.
Yeah.
I would say to stunts. Acting, I feel, has a little more of that like diva element of like, oh, something is in pain. Where in stunts, it's like you're expected to keep going. But part of being a good stunt person is like knowing how to perform motion safely, repetitively. So when you get to set and you got to do 8 takes, you're doing 8 takes perfectly.
I worked in Venezuela on American Ninja 5, real blockbuster. Bloodsport 3 with Chad and Daniel Bernhardt and J.J. Perry, and that was a fun one. Anyways, that kind of happened, and we were all auditioning for stuff, and then Dave Leach came out, and Dave and Chad became partners, and then Brad was kind of part of it, and JJ was part of it, and then Jonathan Eusebio, and Damon and Chad, after the movie 300, had a split, and Damon went and started doing Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Chad continued on to do The Matrix, and then got into the John Wick series, and just amazing how far. And I was part of that whole thing. Chad gave me the ultimatum one time. He just said, here's the deal, Eric. You either choose fighting or you choose movies. He goes, you can't do both. It's either one or the other. I go, but Benny the Jet, a lot of those guys do both. Baby Doll Riley does both. Dennis Kiefer, he was a fighter. Petey Cunningham, all these guys, they were doing both. Why can't I do both? He goes, with our group, you need to make a choice. So if you want to be a part of our group, in order for you to be a part of our group, you need to be here full time. So you need to kick with us, you need to fall, you need to burn, you need to be available full time. And if you can't be, if you're only a part-timer, he goes, you need to make a choice. You're either gonna be a professional full-time fighter or you're gonna be a professional full-time stuntman. It's your choice.
For an MMA, grappling, and history nerd like me, meeting Eric was a bit surreal. After our interview, I got to chat with him and even show him some clips of my recent jiu-jitsu and judo matches. During our conversation, Eric told me about his experience training with another legendary grappler who happens to be my own sensei, Gokor Chivichian, a world champion in judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, no-gi grappling, sambo, and MMA. Sensei Gokor Chivichian, like Sensei Eric Paulson, has also worked as a stuntman and choreographer for the movies. For Sensei Gokor, a side hustle in stunts was a no-brainer because his coach was none other than the old-school legend, Judo Gene LeBell. Known as the godfather of grappling, Gene LeBell was a national judo champion who also had a career in professional wrestling, fought in the first televised MMA fight, and worked as a stuntman on thousands of films. Together, Gene and Gokor founded Highest Stand MMA Academy, where I myself have trained for the past several years. The academy has produced a formidable roster of UFC professionals, including Ronda Rousey, Haro Parisian, and many others.
I would see Gokor, I went to train there, and Dan Inosanto said, if you go to learn at someone's school, don't ever attack them. So if you get a chance to roll with them, let them catch you. Don't go after them. Be polite, and they'll teach you everything. Or they'll teach you a lot. He said, but if you go there and impose a challenge, they're not going to want to show you anything. So I got to roll with Gokor. He caught me twice, and then he showed me a bunch of real cool stuff.
I never talk about who I tap out, but well, he's a great guy. You know, I love Eric Paulson.
He had so many great guys, and Gene and Gokor together put them together. He still has a real tough team. A lot of great Armenian fighters, and judokas, sambas, jiu-jitsu, MMA. He's still part of that, and then Benny the Jet's in with those guys too, and definitely an icon to look up to and to learn from.
I competed 2019. I fight 4 world championship jiu-jitsu and grappling. After 19 years no competing, doing nothing, and I get crazy and try. I say, I'm gonna try. So I won 4 gold medal, and I fought a lot of good Brazilian fighters come from Brazil. And I was very happy I did it because it's not too much of the competition. In my younger time, I did a lot of competition. So it's not that, but just because I put myself in a shape and I got things to do for, I know I'm gonna compete, I lose weight, I train, I don't be lazy, you know. But this year, I thought maybe one more time I compete. I'm gonna compete Judo World Championship, Jiu-Jitsu World Championship, Grappling World Championship, and let's see. If it's Sambo World Championship nearby, I will do that too. But this is good discipline for me, so maybe it's a good time to start thinking about put myself in a good shape. And I'm not getting any younger, so I have a lot of students. I got a lot of schools all over the world. I teach and travel, but when I compete, I start to take care of myself. So this is the main things I want to do. It not too much to impress other people. I already did what I did, but also for myself. So possibly I will compete, my friend.
And you're 60 years young, right?
I'm 60. I'm going to be 61. And I'm still, you can see, I'm still grappling with every day. We're playing every day. I don't feel my age and get up in the morning like a young guy is 20 years old. I grappled like 20 years old, and this is what I feel.
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Having grappled with you.
Yes, yes. And we got a lot of students. The Stunts MMA Academy is growing bigger in North Hollywood and North Reach.
This is my home. Hayastan MMA.
Okay, think about it this way.
Once I got to US, and this was my home, and my name is Roman Mitichyan. Came to States in 1997, and prior to that, I started martial arts 6 years old, sambo, and then judo, and won the Armenian National Championship, and I was in Russia, competed in a lot of tournaments, and did some theater in Moscow. And when I came to States, and just continue here with Gokor and Sensei Jin, and the rest is history. So in transition to MMA, I competed in California Judo Championship, Judo Nationals. I don't remember, US Open, then New York Open, it goes on and on. Now I kind of remember what we've done throughout the years. And currently working in Hollywood as an actor. Used to do a lot of stunts because of my martial arts background. And then a lot of fight scenes. And now I act and direct. Films, most of them I'm the villain. It's called typecasting. And I play a lot of cartels and Russian mobs, Arab terrorists. When you see this mug, you can probably bet with your friends, this guy's gonna get shot in one of the movies. I get killed in every movie, and that's the story of my life, but we're blessed. So thank you, Jesus, every day.
When a Gene asked me to come to the movie, and I didn't understand it, I say, I'm not an actor. And then when I understand that, one time he took me, first time he took me actually, when I did a scene, and then I said, that's it? He said, yeah, this is all you have to do, just make this much money. I said, oh my God, I didn't even know. But first time when I did it, I choreographed some fights, and then I did myself. Everybody loves it, and because I do that in a regular life, so. But then that's the day I started, So that maybe when I said 25, maybe 35 years ago, just approximately like that, in 80s. I never win anything in the movies. Always they beat me up, and I'm the one teaching them how to beat me up. Right. But Gene LaBelle was telling it. He said, "Don't look at you winning or you losing. Look at how much money you get in it." He always like that. Me and Roman been in a lot of movies. But I'm not an actor, so I tell you right now, because I don't know how to act, but I can beat up people if I have to. Or people can beat me up in the movie all the time, But Roman has a lot of movies, and he's acting, and he's doing a fantastic in the movies.
It's been a blessing journey with Sensei Gokor.
And it's up there. If anybody hear this, and if you want to find a Roman to act, he can be anything you want. He can be Italian mafia, Russian mafia. He can be Mexican mafia. He can be any country. It doesn't matter. Whatever you give him, and he will be that. Whatever the country you want it.
So one of the movies that you did, you appeared as a judo fighter in Bloodsport 2, and obviously that movie starred Daniel Bernhardt and Chad Stahelski, who's now the director of the John Wick films. He was one of the fighters in that movie as well.
That movie too.
Yeah, and so did you come across those guys or?
Yeah, I come with all these guys. We was in Thailand to actually shoot this movie. And I choreograph almost everything, even every one of the fights. And then they asked me if you can be on the scene. So I said, no problem, and I did 1 or 2 fights, and then the last fight I was supposed to fight this big Japanese guy, or I don't know what nationality he was, but So he's supposed to beat me, and then it takes me 4 hours to teach him how to beat me. They always choose me as a bad guy, Russian mafia, killer, and things. I don't know, maybe my face looks like a bad person.
We would have like a lot of stunt coordinators come in or casting directors. They would walk into our gym and ask for, hey, we need some badass fighters and this and that. So Sensei Jin will always push me through that. And he knew I had some sort of interest. But at that moment, as an immigrant, when you come, you work hard. And I didn't have time to really pursue my acting career. But once everything got in place, after kind of UFC fights, MMA career, it was over. And I said, you know, fully pursuing my acting career. So definitely Sensei Jin and Sensei Gokor also. We've done a number of films together, such as Takers. That was a while ago, great film. It was with Paul Walker, T.I., Chris Brown, a bunch of other guys. That was a very successful show. But we worked with Sensei Gokor actually a bunch. And yes, Judo Jin LaBelle. I mean, legend, God rest his soul. We miss him dearly.
We used to teach all the stunt guys too. And when Gene was in LACC college, he has a classes only for stunt people. And when I walked there, everybody there, like all the stunt guys and top stunt guys was there. All these stunt guys, they all know me, you know? Because I was there, I was a real fighter. He was, everybody come to see Gene, you know? He was the godfather of grappling, godfather of stunt people.
Gene LaBelle is just the granddaddy of all this, you know? I mean, there's obviously stunt performers that came before Gene LaBelle, but he's pretty epic. He's pretty pinnacle in terms of, like, if you're gonna talk about the old school stunt guy, boom, that's the guy, you know, from the early days, you know?
Uncle Gene LaBelle. Uncle Gene LaBelle was at a lot of my fights, but he also knew that I used to hustle and do movie parts and movie work because I used to see him while I was hustling. I saw him on movie sets. One movie set was with Gene LaBelle with Steven Seagal.
Before we get into one of the most infamous stories in the history of stunts and martial arts, let's take a step back. While I was on the East Coast, I took a train from New York to New Haven, Connecticut in order to pay a visit to best-selling author, Rhodes Scholar, and my personal hero, Matthew Polly, who once put his studies at Princeton University on hold to move to China and train with the Shaolin monks.
My name's Matthew Polly. I'm the best-selling author of American Shaolin, Tapped Out, and Bruce Lee: A Life. I mean, I interviewed Judo Gene LaBelle for the Bruce Lee book, and he put me in one of his famous headlocks, and I couldn't get out of it. He was in his mid-70s, so he was always a character. He met Bruce Lee on the set of The Green Hornet, and they became friends. Bruce Lee was fascinated by all sorts of martial arts, and Judo Gene LaBelle had this catch wrestling, early kind of American style of jiu-jitsu style of fighting. And Bruce Lee was keen to learn everything he could. Bruce knew a bunch about judo, but he hadn't studied the ground fighting as much. And you can see in Bruce's films that he uses techniques that he learned from Judo Gene, and there's a crucifix in Enter the Dragon at the beginning of it. He ends Chuck Norris in Way of the Dragon with the choke, a guillotine, and so Bruce Lee was incorporating a lot of what he learned, and one of the things he learned was catch wrestling from Judo Gene LaBelle. There's a story of him putting Steven Seagal in a chokehold enough to cause him to poop his pants. So that's a famous Judo Gene LaBelle story. And Steven Seagal was well known for being abusive to his stuntmen, hitting them way too hard. And I think there was something similar going on with Bruce, which was he was a little hyperactive and he was a little rough, but I also think the stuntmen were a little hidebound and stuck in their ways. And so Gene LaBelle, who had the respect of everybody knew he was a dangerous fighter. And even Bruce Lee respected him, you know. So Bruce Lee, after they encountered each other, asked to go train with Gene. Judo Gene LaBelle was really a kind of bridge between pure martial artists who wanted to do it their way but didn't have any idea how filmmaking worked, and the stunt guys who had been doing it for a long time but also were kind of stuck in their ways. I think the important thing to understand about Bruce Lee's influence is before Enter the Dragon, everybody was fighting like John Wayne, and after the Enter the Dragon, you start to see a slow evolution to the point where today everybody fights like Bruce Lee. His idea, what I would call kind of enhanced realism, which is it feels realistic, it's high impact, but it's still carefully choreographed and it has an aesthetic value. So what you see in the John Wick movies comes out of that tradition of kind of Bruce Lee's enhanced realism style of fight choreography. But the important part of it is it brings in all of the Eastern martial arts. So you have grappling, you have striking, you have feet and fists occurring all at the same time in a kind of ballet of violence, but not highly aestheticized, more focused on impact. Brandon Lee was about 8 years old when his father died. He was not the martial artist his father was, but in many ways he was perhaps a more sensitive actor than his father had been.
Damon and Chad were friends with Brandon Lee. And Brandon, they were working with him with stuff, and I was kind of excluded, but it was good because I was fighting. And those guys were really into choreography stuff, and I was like, man, I gotta get ready for fights. So that's how that kind of ended. But actually, the first day of my fight practice was the day that Brandon Lee died. I walked into the academy at 10:30. Everyone was sad. And everyone had their head down. I go, what's going on? Why is everyone so depressed? They go, Brandon got shot on the set of The Crow. And I was like, you guys have some faith. He'll be okay. I think he'll be okay. How severe is it? And they go, oh, shot in the stomach. And I was like, how could that happen? Chad dedicated and I dedicated our first fight, and Sensei Yuri, our first fight, to Brandon Lee in Japan. Chad and I are the first two Americans to go to Japan and fight in a sport that was created in 1984, and it was the first MMA. They had the most MMA fights of any league ever. It was the only real league in Japan at that time. At the time, I started fighting, Chad and I started fighting together in Japan. It was the beginning of 1993, and that was before the first UFC. So Chad and I went over there to fight the Japanese in a sport that they created, and they had champions. Chad had to fight a guy named Yamada, and I had to fight a guy named Kusayanagi. Chad's guy was a bull, known as the Bull, and the guy that I had was the best, they supposedly was the best ground guy that they had in Shudo at that time. My friend Chad had a girlfriend, and they used to watch movies, and he was going to USC, and his parents, he had a full ride from his parents. I was working 2 bartending jobs, teaching private lessons, getting little bit parts here and there, and I could barely even pay attention. I was so broke I could barely pay attention. So, I was just scraping by. But that was good because that's the struggle. That's what people need to have. And for me, just to get into the gym to train every day while I'm dealing with the spiritual aspect, while I'm a bartender, bartending in a smoke-ridden bar till 4 in the morning, And then Chad comes in, he goes, your cardio sucks today. You're breathing heavy on the Thai pads. I go, yeah, I worked till 4 in a smoke-ridden bar last night. And I just made enough to pay rent this month. So I go, and by the way, what movie did you watch last night? People, like today, people look and they go, oh, look at this, look at that. But nobody knows the struggle that you had to go through and the ups and downs and ins and outs and failures and I said, well, you know, Chad, you're into choreography. What's the next step for you? He goes, second unit directing. And I go, and then what? And he goes, and then directing. So now Damon, Chad, they're into the directing aspect. And I'm happy. And Dave Leach, they're doing the directing stuff. You know, you're not, most stunt coordinators would do a second unit directing, but Chad and Damon and Dave and Brad and I'm sure Tim Rigby and Chris O'Hara, Dave Leach, all these guys now are directing. Jonathan Eusebio, I'm sure they're all doing not only just choreography, but at the highest level of movie stuff, you want to get into the directing and then even the producing. You know, executive producing or, you know, whatever it is. It's all part of it, and that's all pieces of the puzzle. Most of the stunt guys, almost, not most, all the guys that I met, there's no, like, dark, malicious thoughts. Everyone's, like, cool, they're buddies, they're pals, everyone, they have a clean lifestyle. I remember one guy went out and he had a couple beers and Chad got mad. He's like, it's a work night. And he made the guy do tons of laps and stuff just because he went out and had a few beers or something. After training, went and met some friends or something. He goes, it's a work night. You don't do that on a work night. So it's funny. You are your own professional person, so you're accountable for yourself. So you have to be at practice. You have to be doing your research, your R&D. You have to be training your body. You need to be lifting weights and taking care of your health and your body, and then also nurturing your friendships that you have, your brotherhood with other stuntmen. That's extremely valuable and important. And you can't be a lone wolf. You know, I know when you start getting bigger and bigger that you're consumed with your time, but you're still part of the brotherhood. You know, whether you're the commanding chief and officer or you're just a soldier, you're still part of that brotherhood.
There's a mutual concept between the martial arts world and the stunt world is honestly the respect, right? And because when you're on the mats or you're in a dojo or you're in tournaments fighting, you know, you're not fighting to mess this person up. No, you're fighting with respect. You're walking in fighting this opponent with respect. You walk in, you bow, you fight your 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and that's it. And then you shake hands after. You win, you lose, but there's respect by the end of the day. And I feel like it's in the stunt business, it's the same thing. You know, it's the same as martial arts. We have a lot of respect in this business, you know, and safety, of course. But it's the respect comes from what I said earlier. Is people coming and checking up on you. You know, hey, you're okay, you're fine. You know, and even you're fighting with somebody, you have a fight scene, you're faking the fight, but there's a lot of respect in that field as well. So I feel like, yeah, honestly, the best thing I like about martial arts is the respect that we have on the mats.
Today, my journey in the martial arts and stunts world is still unfolding. I continue to train and compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. Plus, not long after my conversation with Hugh Fitzgerald, I became a trainee on the 87 North grappling stunt team. For the past 6 months and counting, I've been learning how to apply my Jiu-Jitsu and Judo skills to fight choreography. It's been fun to revisit my roots because, in fact, I was an actor and performer long before I became a writer and film director. As an indie filmmaker, I never would have imagined that my career might include performing jiu-jitsu or judo in front of a camera. For a decade or so prior to this documentary, jiu-jitsu was not directly related to my film work. Although I always loved martial arts movies, I personally made dialogue-driven dramatic films with little to no action in them. Jiu-jitsu was simply something that I did in my spare time because it gave me a sense of personal fulfillment. It was the best thing I could find for my mental health and my physical fitness. Plus, it gave me a community of friends and like-minded people when I was a 22-year-old kid who had just moved to Los Angeles. All of that being said, what I've come to understand over the past year, which I think I've always known deep down as a storyteller who does jiu-jitsu, is that there are really no hard and fast boundaries between my self-expression as a filmmaker and my self-expression as a jiu-jitsu practitioner. I believe the same is true for all the people that I've met on this journey, more or less. They may be actors, directors, stuntmen or women, coaches. Hell, they may even be best-selling authors and Rhodes Scholars. But at the end of the day, all these people have something in common. That is, they were deeply transformed by their experience with a martial art, whether it be jiu-jitsu, judo, sambo, kung fu, kali, or something else. In one way or another, jiu-jitsu or another martial art triggered self-actualization for these people. And as a result, they found their place within their chosen artistic field. Essentially, they became who they are today, as humans and as storytellers.